Sisyphus is a well-known figure in Greek mythology. His story is a great analogy for the eternal butt slog of trials and tribulations that we like to call life. He has been studied and romanticized and appropriated over the years by authors, philosophers, game developers, and people on Instagram reels for the story of his eternal punishment, which is to push Hades' left nut up a mountain until it drops once more and he has to hike down and start pushing it again like some kind of proverbial dung beetle. Today I want to present some ways that I think Sisyphus could make the most of his situation. Originally my Sisyphus if you haven't been able to tell already, I am gravely ill. I've been wanting to make more better videos, but it was only up until recently that I didn't sound like a chronic smoker who just finished yelling at their kids. Before I get into the things that I think could make Sisyphus happy, I'd like to talk a little bit about his personal history, because holy fucking shit, this guy was fucked up. He was supposed to die, and then he didn't. Just before he kicked the proverbial bucket, he told his wife to throw his naked dead body into the town square when he died instead of burying him, apparently to test his wife's love for him. To his surprise, his wife followed his instructions. So because of this unfortunate event, he asked the gods if he could go back to the land of the living to beat his wife. And they said yes. So after Sisyphus was done beating his wife in the overworld, he decided he no longer wanted to go back to the underworld. And he just kind of stayed up there for a couple years until one day. And his punishment for being cringe is to push a rock up a 45-degree incline until the death of the sun. Now, if I was him, I would definitely be pissed, but I'm sure that by now, there's some resources available that could make him a lot happier. Here we go. How to make Sisyphus happy. Solution 1, I think he should start fit posting. I think it goes without saying that after so many eternity of pushing that boulder, Sisyphus is probably ripped as fuck. I think it would be in his actually best interest to start fitness Instagram, because because not only would doing something like this boost your motivation, but also it's a spin on the normal fit posting shit. He could get some very unique brand deals because of this, some very unique workout routines. Squats, leg press, calisthenics. If somebody made a fitness account and their whole shtick was that they had a giant boulder, I think Sisyphus could even gain enough fame that he could go places on the Joe Rogan podcast, which would be really great for exposure, especially since you don't get a lot of sunlight down there. The next solution I propose is kind of in that same vein. I think he should start a Twitch stream. Again, I believe that a Twitch account centered on this kind of content would actually be really successful. The only thing Sisyphus would need to do is basically just do an infinite IRL stream. You could do a lot of creative things with the boulder. You could write can you shut the fuck up? You could do a lot of creative things with the boulder, I think. And and you could do it in tandem with the fitness influencer thing. So you could kill two birds with one But I went through the trouble of making a proof of concept, showing what it might look like. As you can see, there's Sisyphus. He's pushing the boulder up the mountain. You could see he's got a speedrun timer in a live chat. Here's another proof of concept photo where we see Sisyphus after he's about to reach the top of the mountain and he drops the boulder. You can see there he is screaming in pain. This is a formula that I genuinely 100% believe. This isn't a joke anymore. I believe this could actually be something huge. This is basically an endless content farm, because it's every time he gets to the top of the mountain, it's another clip on stream fails. The next solution is to use the boulder to sever his brain stem, because then he doesn't have to think about pushing the boulder anymore. Solution number 5, I think he could start a casino with his boulder rolling. Going back to the original story, Zeus, the king... Zeus put an enchantment on the boulder so that every time it got close to the top of the mountain, it would roll back down magically. And because of this, I think it could be exploited. Such as this game right here. Can you imagine he has a bunch of trees? I think this is another scheme that could be incredibly profitable, because people love to gamble, and especially if you wanted to live stream it. live streamers, for some reason, love gambling. Now, I've been talking about solutions, like, to his boredom, basically, but what if we actually tried to solve the issue? Assuming that he did all these side hustles, such as, like, the gambling and the Twitch stream, I think it's safe to say that he could accrue a lot of money. He could use that money to buy some equipment and manpower to actually help him solve the Boulder problem. So I asked ChatGPT for help for what they thought would be good. So after learning what I learned from ChatGPT, this is the solutions that I found. Solution number 1. The first thing you need is a Chevrolet Square Body or a Toyota Hilux. Recently, I watched some YouTube videos of a man on the internet who likes to blow up cars, and he praised these two vehicles for their incredibly durability and strength. Step 3 would just be to drive up the mountain normally with the Boulder. Given that the Boulder weighs this much, as ChatGPT said, and the incline is only this much, I'm not gonna do the math. Now, this next step is very important. As the Boulder approaches the peak, you would switch the chain. Okay, so here's your mountain, where it would be pulling a chain with the Boulder on it. See? And then it would go this way. Now, you would also place the Boulder in a tunnel so that it can only go up a predetermined path towards the top of the mountain. And as you roll the Boulder to the top of the mountain, let's say that you got the Boulder over here. You would place a metal sheet inside of the tunnel like this. If the Boulder tries to roll down magically to the bottom of the mountain, which it now can't because it's in the tunnel, it cannot go back. However, after considering this a bit, I thought, what if Zeus's enchantment is a little too strong? So, the solution number 2 is to gaslight the Boulder. Back to the enchantment. I don't think the enchantment... Okay, let me explain this. I don't think that the enchantment is based on the peak of the mountain. The enchantment is based on the Boulder acting as some kind of tracker. It tracks a certain elevation, and this elevation is the peak of the mountain. So, when Sisyphus rolls that Boulder towards the elevation, then the enchantment kicks in. So, the next thing you would do, first you would push the Boulder normally, and then you would measure the elevation at which the enchantment kicks in, like 10 or so meters from the peak of the mountain, and then you would measure an elevation just below that trigger elevation. After you find out what elevation that is, you would buy an excavator, and then you would shave off the top of the mountain. Then you just roll the Boulder up the mountain normally, and once it reaches the peak, then you can say you did it because you got it to the peak of the mountain. And this solution is much cheaper. So these are all viable solutions that I think are great alternatives to an eternity of hopelessness and despair. Sisyphus, if you're watching this video,